All right, today we're talking about volume and how to find the volume of a rectangular prism, which means something that looks like this. A 3D box is a rectangular prism. I mean, this isn't perfect, but gives you a good enough idea. That's a rectangular prism. So if you're trying to find the volume of a box, or if you're trying to find the volume of a water tank that was shaped like this, or a cereal box, or your Kleenex box, pretty much anytime it's a box, you can use this to find the volume. L means length, width, height. So to find the volume of a rectangular prism, we use the length times the width times the height, and that will give us the volume. This would also work on a cube. You can use the same formula. So if I saw that I had a rectangular prism, a 3D rectangle, pretty much, and if the length across the bottom was 4 feet, and the width across the side was 3 feet, and the height was 7 feet, I could find the volume by doing 4 feet times 3 feet times 7 feet. 4 times 3 is 12. When I multiply that by 7, I get 84 feet. So the volume of this rectangular prism would be 84 feet, and it's actually 84 feet cubed or cubic feet, because it's asking how many teeny tiny little cubes can fit in the inside. You remember when you find the area, it's feet squared, because it's how many little squares fit in it. But in this, little tiny cubes fit in it, and they're 3D cubes. So we have to write it as cubes to the third power, which means cubed. Now let's look at another example. So let's say we had a cube, which means all of the sides are equal. And if the length was 5 feet, because it's a cube, that means all of the side lengths would be 5 feet. So to find the volume of this cube, we would do the length times the width times the height. So we would do 5 is the length times the width, which is 5, times the height, which is 5, and that will give us our volume. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125, but we can't just leave it as 125. It needs to be 125 feet cubed. Now another formula, a formula is like a pattern we can follow to find something. Another formula you may find to find the volume of rectangular prisms is to do the base times the height, and that will give you the volume. So let me show you what that means. Let's say we had this rectangular prism, and this time around they don't give us the length and they don't give us the width. They do give us the height, and they say that the height is 6 centimeters, but all they tell us is that the base of it equals 20 centimeters squared. What that is saying is that on the bottom of this shape, so if I took and made this, finished making it 3D, on the bottom of this shape, there are 20 squares. So there are 20 squares on the bottom that make up the bottom of the shape. And to figure out the volume, we can figure out how many cubes would then fill up the rest of it. So if the bottom layer has 20, we know that if the height is 6, that we're going to build that up 6 times. So we're going to have 20 on the bottom, then 20 on the next layer, 20 on the next layer, 20 on the next, 20 on the next, 20 on the last, for a total of 6 layers because this is 6 centimeters tall. So to find the volume of it, we can just do the base, which is 20, times the height, which is 6. And we can find that the volume of this is 120 centimeters cubed. So let's look at another one like this, where it's the base times the height. If I had a building and they tell me that the base of the building is, let's say, 15 feet squared, and the height is 10 feet. That means that on the bottom of it, I can fit 15 squares. So I could show it to you on the top, because if there's 15 on the bottom, then there's 15 on the top. So there's 15 squares up there, and there would also be 15 down there. But we know that I'm not just going to have 15 on the top or the bottom. I've got 15 on each and every level. Because it's 10 feet tall, I'm going to have 10 levels. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 levels. On the bottom level, there's 15. 15, 15, 15, 15. 15 squares on each level, or cubes, 15 cubes on each level. So that tells me that to find the total amount, to find the volume, everything it will hold, I do the base, which is 15, times the height, which is 10, and my volume is 150 feet cubed. So volume is asking how much will it hold, like how many cubes will it hold. So this one would hold 150 cubic feet, or feet cubed. The last formula to find the volume would be if we had the face times the width, and that will give us the volume, or the face times the length. But it's pretty much the same idea. So if I had a rectangular prism, and if it told me that the face of the rectangular prism was 18 inches squared, so that means on the front of my shape, on my prism, there are 18 little squares. So there are 18 squares. So the face was 18 inches squared. And that means that's on the front layer. But then if it tells me that the width or the depth of it is 2 inches, then that tells me I'm going to have a front layer, which is this whole layer. But I also have a back layer. So I have one in the front and one in the back. So it's the same idea though. I just take my face, which is 18, multiply it by the width, which is 2, and that will tell me that my volume is 36 inches cubed. I hope this video helps with finding the volume. Good luck.